Hey, everybody, Jason Burmis here, and Joe Biden's administration, because we all know that Zombie J out there, we're dropping the Joe, the O and the E, it's Zombie J, that's his new rap name, by the way. Zombie J and the gang have said that COVID-1984 needs us to delay the release of the JFK files until December. Now, let's talk about this for a second. When people tell me that Donald Trump was going to take down the deep state, right? When they were all like, there are white hats everywhere, and don't worry, we got them, and everyone's a super secret Q decoder. I said to everybody, the man went in, and he said two things of real interest that could have been huge blows to the deep state, okay? When I say huge blows to the deep state, I mean cut them deep, peel back the veil, and let America know that they had been lied to in two of the largest historical events that have shaped and molded our country in ways that many of us continue to be unable to comprehend. And of course, that is the John F. Kennedy assassination, okay, and 9/11. He said, we're going to get to the bottom of it, right? Now, interestingly enough, shout out to Tim Dillon. Recently, when he had Glenn Greenwald on, towards the end of the interview, Tim Dillon asked him a little bit about 9/11. And Tim Dillon framed it in a nice little, well, I'm not saying this, but I am saying this. What are your thoughts on it? Manner. Very slickly done. Thank you, Tim. And although Greenwald was kind of caught off guard, now that, the strings have been cut a little bit from Almadar and The Intercept, and he's more independent, he even acknowledged that you kind of have to pick and choose your battles when you're a person of his, public persona. We don't pick and choose battles here, okay? When we speculate, we tell you we speculate. When it's the truth, it's the truth, it's the truth, it's the truth, and I'm not going to back down. So I'm going to say that first of all, okay? But Greenwald then said that look at JFK, and he compared 9/11 to JFK and the lies there, also saying, hey, of course there's a ton of lies regarding 9/11. Now, Trump gets in there, and he does release some documents. We did some big deep dives on both of those dumps here and over at We Are Change. Go watch my Warren C. DeBrew series, Camelot is the Mystery to Camelot Solved, and you'll see this FBI handler that was involved with Oswald, okay, who's an obvious intelligence asset no matter what you think. Everybody who says, oh, these conspiracy theorists can't believe that some simple man, he's a simple man. He was in his early 20s, knew multiple languages, was going back and forth to Russia all the time. At the height of the Cold War. Yeah, he was simple, okay? These narratives are unbelievable, but they're still pushed, right? They're still pushed. To this day, there's talking points, decades later. And so, basically, Trump could have dealt them a death blow, by showing people that there was this unaccountable deep state crew of intel agents that had successively not only performed coups in other countries, but this one, and had taken hold of our country's military-industrial complex. And by the way, get your questions and comments in now, because this is going to be a long video, because we're actually going to play the full 16 minutes of an Eisenhower. We're not just going to edit out that, 3 or 4 minute subsection. I want people to get a vibe for the time. Okay, I want to do the whole thing. So this could be a long one. And then again, questions and comments. You can skip the line, obviously, because we are live on Rockfin, where we're totally uncensored, by the way. Okay? For instance, yesterday we have an exclusive over on YouTube where I was out at this rally in Illinois for Illinois Freedom Alliance, okay? And you had, I believe his name was Gary Rabine. He's running for governor in Illinois. But this whole running for governor thing, great, bro. I'm with you there. I know you're talking about it being Marxist. It's really globalist. It's really predatory. It does have, those mannerisms, that tool set to get there. Sure. But we're facing something a lot more. And our elections are no longer legitimate and have not been for years upon years upon years. There's always been problems with elections. We talk about JFK, more than likely stole that one with the mafia. A little ballot box stuffing, amongst other things. But now, with the inability to audit anything in a media that says that you're a kook if you want audits, with fractional voting and mail-in voting and no accountability whatsoever, I mean, we're beyond the pale. We're beyond the pale. Okay? So, again, you want to skip the line, come over to Rockfin anyway. I think I'm going to put up my Wrist Flex interview from earlier this week that's not up there yet. But there's, you want to see the COVID land, Paul Wittenberger full interview. You want to see parents fighting back in Iowa. Okay? And by the way, we're going to be there tomorrow, 5 p.m. Okay? I'm going to bring that up again. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. in Davenport, fighting for those kids. Fighting for those kids. All right? This is all real. And it's all because of the fact, not only do you have Zombie J in office, right? But they can use this till December of 2022. We'll just push it back again. They're never going to let you know what happened. You're never going to let you know what happened if guys like this are in office. And again, if Trump could not do that, how's he going to fight the deep state? With guys like Bill Barr and John Bolton and Grenell and all the ghouls, man. Gina Haspel. Let's get into reality. He didn't even pardon Assange. He didn't even pardon Assange. Let me repeat it again. He didn't even pardon Assange. You don't want him in 2024. Don't be bamboozled. Do not. Oh, we can't. If there was any time that they could have put these documents out, right? And again, Trump withheld 14,000, right? Through October 26th. They put some out with Trump, and there was some interesting stuff there, but nowhere near it. And, one of the things that I thought was really interesting, and a lot got press, because it was hard not to, was inside the JFK docs somehow. And why was it inside the JFK docs? Why? Because they were probably investigating a corrupt Central Intelligence Agency in many of these documents, right? And they were basically pondering that Hitler had escaped to South America, and they had that little picture of him and the whole thing. So that's what I mean when I tell you that this would be a huge blow to the deep state, because right now, again, all right, people don't understand what signature reduction is and how they openly have, we talk about secret police and brown shirts in other countries. This is a 60,000 person crew pulling off domestic operations in person, digitally, against the American people. With all the tools of DARPA at their disposal, never been a congressional hearing on it, no oversight whatsoever, openly operating for over a decade now. Openly operating for over a decade now. This is that military-industrial complex. Do you get it? Do you get it? And that's case closed, man. Case closed. Stop pretending it's left or right. It's always right and wrong. You want to deal death blows, you expose this. You get rid of it. You have a constitutional republic again. So we're going to go to Eisenhower. I need you to thumbs this video up, subscribe and share. Remember, all of my documentary films are free. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture down below in any of the playlist sections. You can support me with the GoFundMe and stuff down below. But look, this is a child of warfare. This is a military guy. This is an insider of insiders. Somebody who realized that even then he did not have the power he needed, okay, to stop this military-industrial complex that was growing and growing and growing, because post-World War II, with things like Operation Paperclip and black sites popping up all over, right? Roswell, New Mexico, baby. Huh? Everybody thinks, Roswell and then Nevada and all that. Oh, it's the spooky aliens. Is it? It's not what Annie Jacobson thinks. Born classified. Born classified.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. First, I should like to express my gratitude to the radio and television networks for the opportunities they have given me over the years to bring reports and messages to our nation. My special thanks go to them for the opportunity of addressing you this evening.
Now let's just stop there. Obviously, even then, everybody knew that these type of avenues, the media, would be a great way to utilize what Bernays talked about, aka propaganda, melding the minds of men. But now it's come so full circle that if a guy literally in that same seat wants to give his farewell address, it gets cut from all the mainstream media because he's accusing them in being in collusion of stealing an election from him. Think about how far we've come there, right? Just point that out.
3 days from now, after half a century in the service of our country, I shall lay down the responsibilities of office as, in traditional and solemn ceremony, the authority of the presidency is vested in my successor. This evening, I come to you with a message of leave-taking and farewell, and to share a few final thoughts with you, my countrymen. Like every other citizen, I wish the new president and all who will labor with him Godspeed. I pray that the coming years will be blessed with peace and prosperity for all. Our people expect their president and the Congress to find essential agreement on issues of great moment, the wise resolution of which will better shape the future of the nation. My own relations with the Congress, which began on a remote and tenuous basis when, long ago, a member of the Senate appointed me to West Point, have since ranged to the intimate during the war and immediate post-war period, and finally to the mutually interdependent during these past 8 years. In this final relationship, the Congress and the administration on most vital issues, cooperated well to serve the nation good rather than mere partisanship, and so have assured that the business of the nation should go forward. So my official relationship with the Congress ends in a feeling, on my part, of gratitude that we have been able to do so much together. We now stand 10 years past the midpoint of a century that has witnessed 4 major wars among great nations. 3 of these involved our own country. Despite these holocausts, America is today the strongest, the most influential, and most productive nation in the world. Understandably proud of this preeminence, we yet realize that America's leadership and prestige depend not merely upon our unmatched material progress, riches, and military strength, but on how we use our power in the interest of world peace and human betterment.
Now let me just stop that. I'm sorry about the muting before. That's my jackassery. So again, what I was talking about before is how this guy was a guy who literally came up from West Point all the way up through, saw what would shape the world, what the Industrial Revolution would become, right? He just talks about it. It's not just that we're the most productive nation. All right, there's a lot more. And unfortunately, after they take out, right, the next guy, it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong, false flags, Gulf of Tonkin. We've never been perfect. We've never been perfect. You go all the way back to whether or not the Japanese plan to go into Pearl Harbor was known, right? A lot of historians believe that. Very, very possible. But it shows you, you have this behind-the-scenes network that has always tried to pull the strings of power and manipulate. And this guy saw all the way through it. Again, from the time he was a young man dealing with Congress all the way to the presidency of the United States. And how we wield that power, we've wielded it very badly. We've allowed sociopaths, okay, from this country, okay, inside this country, like Bill Gates, Ted Turner, right, Michael Bloomberg. These are just a handful of like the social climbing minions that want to be the good guys club to rise up. And those are the names we know of.
Throughout America's adventure in free government, our basic purposes have been to keep the peace, to foster progress in human achievement, and to enhance liberty, dignity, and integrity among peoples and among nations. To strive for less would be unworthy of a free and religious people. Any failure traceable to arrogance or our lack of comprehension or readiness to sacrifice would inflict upon us grievous hurt, both at home and abroad.
Was he wrong there? Both at home and abroad.
Progress toward these noble goals is persistently threatened by the conflict now engulfing the world. It commands our whole attention, absorbs our very beings. We face a hostile ideology, global in scope, atheistic in character, ruthless in purpose, and insidious in method.
Now you substitute what he's talking about, communism, right, for what's actually going on right now in this techno-fascist takeover, this globalist takeover, this idea for a great reset on behalf of a new world order agenda. Man, he's nailing it, huh?
Unhappily, the danger it poses promises to be of indefinite duration. To meet it successfully, there is call for not so much the emotional and transitory sacrifices of crisis, but rather those which enable us to carry forward steadily, surely, and without complaint, the burdens of a prolonged and complex struggle with liberty, the stake. Only thus shall we remain, despite every provocation, on our charted course toward permanent peace and human betterment.
So again, a system of accountability and freedom is the only way this works.
Crises there will continue to be. In meeting them, whether foreign or domestic, great or small, there is a recurring temptation to feel that some spectacular and costly action could become the miraculous solution to all current difficulties.
Really? Huh. So crisis, and then the solution, problem, reaction, solution, the Hegelian dialectic. Wait a minute. And then they offer it to you like bio-nanotech shots? Like gene therapy or vector-based shots that's going to be the solution, right? Or little apps on your phone for track trace database, or as Klausy Klaus, you be the robot polisher, not everybody can be one. Little microchips in all your closed body. Like those solutions? Huh.
A huge increase in newer elements of our defenses. Development of unrealistic programs to cure every ill in agriculture.
Dude, this is why we didn't just play the military-industrial complex part. This farewell address is so on point. Oh, DARPA's going to have a new unit for Zombie J and the gang that's going to solve and cure cancer. Oh, that's what they're going to do. They have their little chippy. And agriculture. It's so good that Bill Gates is our biggest farmer, and he's been investing in what? Monsanto for years, who partnered with Bayer, who got caught injecting live HIV virus into hemophiliacs, some of them children, many years ago. How about that?
A dramatic expansion in basic and applied research. These and many other possibilities, each possibly promising in itself, may be suggested as the only way to the road we wish to travel. But each proposal must be weighed in the light of a broader consideration: the need to maintain balance in and among national programs. Balance between the private and the public economy.
Which is done. They've eviscerated the little guy. And again, Google, although it's traded publicly, is a Trojan horse civilian system by their own admissions. They work with NASA on quantum computing and artificial intelligence. We've had walkouts from employees because they don't want to program the drones. The drones, the drones that kill people. They own the largest operating system on the planet, Android. The largest search engine on the planet. What? Oh, Google. They also happen to own the largest video platform on the planet, YouTube. You get the picture? Are you starting to understand what this really is? Full access. Okay, so public and private, there is no balance anymore. There is no, it's one thing, like under these shell corporations in a signature reduction lifestyle of a secret military run against you.
Balance between the cost and hoped for advantages. Balance between the clearly necessary and the comfortably desirable. Balance between our essential requirements as a nation and the duties imposed by the nation upon the individual. Balance between actions of the moment and the national welfare of the future. Good judgment seeks balance in progress. Lack of it eventually finds imbalance and frustration. The record of many decades stands as proof that our people and their government have, in the main, understood these truths and have responded to them well in the face of threat and stress. But threats, new in kind or degree, constantly arise. Of these I mention two only. A vital element in keeping the peace is our military establishment. Our arms must be mighty, ready for instant action, so that no potential aggressor may be tempted to risk his own destruction.
Now let's stop here. Now, obviously this starts what a lot of people will call the arms race with the Soviets. But there's a reason why the Soviet program and now the Chinese, are very involved together on the International Space Station because they've all been brought in on the space weapons to some degree. For instance, there's a lot of hype right now around the weapons testing over in China. Well, they're in on the game. Don't you understand? They're in on the globalist game now. We weaponized space in the 80s like you wouldn't believe, and so did Russia. All right? And deals have been cut with China. That's what the reality of the situation is. Okay? So in a sense, Eisenhower was right, but now the collusion behind the scenes is so overwhelming that it no longer makes sense, because this handful of scientific elites that he talks about have long taken over on behalf of the predator class.
Our military organization today bears little relation to that known of any of my predecessors in peacetime.
That's right.
Or indeed by the fighting men of World War II or Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Until the latest of our world conflicts, the United States had no armaments industry. American makers of plowshares could, with time and as required, make swords as well. But we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. We annually spend on military security alone more than the net income of all United States corporations.
Now let's stop it there. Think about that then. He was really letting big cats out of the bag, letting people know this is getting kind of dangerous. And you guys need to start paying attention and holding people accountable, or there are going to be disasters afoot. He already mentioned foreign and domestic enemies.
Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government.
Spiritual, so key, so underrated in this speech.
We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
Now I'm going to stop it there. There's another 6 or 7 minutes left in the speech, but I wanted that whole build up. It gets edited a lot. All right. Eisenhower's someone to listen to. But we're going to jump in. We're going to get your questions and comments over there. I do want to thank everybody again that is at least signed up for Rockfin, made the free account, following me over there. If you haven't done that, please do so. Remember, $9.99 a month for all the premium stuff, which are really just throwbacks for me or stuff that's available elsewhere, but you get everybody's premium content. $99.99 for the year. That's how you lock it all the way in. We are trying to expand. I'm going to be talking about that more than likely throughout this. Actually, I got a meeting about it tomorrow, about this building. And I want this building badly. It's in a nice area. I got big plans for it. I'm trying to expand with everything I can right now, guys. And I think now's the time for expansion, because who knows what happens in the future. Carpe diem, as they say. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. What's this? Of course it does. He's talking about COVID and not getting the JFK files, right? First Trump delays it, now Biden. Of course. They've been delaying it for years. We should have known this over 20 years ago. Would you trust what the government releases? Not at this point, because they can just change documents. In fact, listen, some of it I would trust, for sure. But at the same time, you see where Snowden, one of the most interesting Snowden revelations out there, is him discussing how there was not just a document of his that was blacked out, right? But there was a full-on different document that the public saw that was in the classified setting. So that is extremely troublesome. Let's see. Yes, QAnon nonsense was a psyop. What up, JB? Long time no see. Hey there, Burmese Brigade. How we doing, Scott? Good to see you. Yes, we got the Metal Militia shirt on. Yes, Scott's here. Haven't seen Scott in a long time. What up? What up, man? Had a, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry, Doom. I'm sorry about that, Doom. Happy birthday, man. Keep your head up. I was just chopping a JFK speech into a new song. Now, again, you look at JFK, and there's a guy that worked with the mafia, maybe wasn't the best, none of that stuff. But at the same time, definitely a threat to the establishment. 9/11 documents will be classified till 2060, so don't hold your breath waiting for the truth about urban removal systems. It's not. It's urban moving systems, Freedom Fighter, you're thinking of. It's not removal. Let's see. FOIA actually reveals some real stuff. Yes, it did. Happy belated. Can I have your t-shirt? 11761. What a great speech. Let's see. Thanks, brother. Let's keep going. Burmis, why does Jason Goodman have a beef with you? Also, what do you think of the work I don't know any of the work John Cullen does. Goodman was one of those guys that was grifting about Q, and I mentioned it somewhere during the beginning of the Q nonsense stuff. And anybody, who knows what he said later, but people sent me stuff, a lot of his stuff, and it was always with some other partner that he would have a falling out with, and he was always in litigation with somebody. And then people on his show always had the super secret sources that never were true, right? the email sources or whatever. So somehow he got my phone number and he called me and threatened me. I was in the shower when I answered it. Then he put that online. And there was some other, he was texting me and continuously trying to call me from other numbers too. You know what I mean? It was crazy. He said something about some weird Craigslist thing. Listen, I don't even want to bring up his name. So I have no idea about his work or what he does. I know he did that Dershowitz thing. You know what I mean? I only saw that little bitty clip. And obviously I'm no fan of Dershowitz either. So we're not about tearing people down here. Do your thing. Strive for that rainbow. We do real based stuff though. Like when we interview somebody, they're actually involved in what they're saying, or they're a researcher, and we have them as such. We don't get into super secret squirrel nonsense, right? We don't. JB baby, love you, bro. Love you, Derek. RFK Jr. said that 1960 wasn't stolen. A guy named Sam Helper started that rumor. I don't know, man. Whether it was stolen or not, I think that you definitely had those allegiances. We know they had those allegiances with the mafia. We also know that the FBI and the mafia work together, right? Like all this stuff is real behind the scenes. I mean, think about Marilyn Monroe. Now, Marilyn Monroe was around a lot of powerful people and probably ended up paying the price for it one way or another. But we're talking about entertainment, we're talking about mafioso, and we're talking about politics. And think about how much organized crime, politics, and entertainment has shaped and influenced the lives of the average American citizen, whether you realize it or not. Just pointing all that out. What's your take on what's coming for 2022 COVID? Nothing good, Gregory Ariel. Think that we're probably going to see. They've already admitted more people have died this year than last year of it, right? And think about how much that administration was demonized and how no one's saying anything about Zombie J and the gang. And I said that this was going to happen and they'd eventually announce it. And I also said that it would be November, not October. And they came in a month early, which is worrisome, right? So they're coming in a month early. I think in the next couple months, we're going to see upticks in cases, selective lockdowns, enforcements, and they're coming for your kids. 2022, they're admittedly coming for your kids, right? Double Shotsky and Hutch, they've already announced it. They're coming for your kids. They're coming for your kids. They were always coming for your kids. And the CDC just announced again that they're going to update what fully booped is. I always told you that too. I always told you that. Let's see. Make sure y'all buy Bryson Gray's Let's Go Brandon song. YouTube struck it and deleted that. I did see something about that. Yeah, because he said something about something being a hoax that you're not allowed to say is a hoax, or something's fake or something like that. One line. Does anybody really think that our Masonic government would tell us the truth even if they do release their report? They will never release those files. Other research topics: computational sociology, human terrain system, Minerva Initiative, political instability task force. First they came for Assange and Trump did nothing. Then they came for Trump. Correct. Same with again, exactly. What did it all get him? To not fight back the right way. To not fire Fauci out of the gates. To not go along with Operation DARPA, I mean Warp Speed. You know? Where did it get him? It got him a guy, Bill Barr, who couldn't keep Epstein alive. And remember, Trump and Epstein clearly had a relationship, but Trump wanted to play the Epstein card just like he played the 9/11 card while he was trying to get elected. And then he wishes Ghislaine Maxwell well, frankly. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Grey Wolf by Gerard Williams. They'll never tell the truth. And again, if you don't think we live in a banana republic with allowing Epstein to not kill himself twice, come on. That's right in your face. Connections to a ton of these guys in all the industries I just said. Right? In big business, in media, in politics. Big business is organized crime, by the way. Just on another level, they wear suits. And they're like indemnified from going to prison in most cases, unless they scapegoat you like a Bernie Madoff or something like that. Let's see. And even for they did, you can bet they are doctored. FBI and CIA and Congress are criminals. Scott, great to see you. Karen, I was in Dallas last year. Dealey Plaza is smaller in person. I could have made that shot. the shot from the school book depository, or the shiz from behind the fence on the grassy knoll. Hey there, Karen. Great to see you as well. How you been, Scott? Let's see. There's a pneumatic gun mounted in the driver's seat. He spoke on science also. Oh, damn COVID, you screwed us again. Grannon did a nice clip on psycholinguistic psyops. I don't know who Grannon is. USA recruited Nazis, then became them and took it global. Holy Jesus. Karen, do you ever sleep? Been busy, but still kicking. How are you, Karen? 5-star general. Let's see. Jason, please check into a government auctions for your property. Much better deals. Jilly, I'm trying to not just have a podcast studio, but one in which, again, not only do I teach kids how to do this, but one where I can get interns. And that is in a nice area, and we can expand. I'm trying to do big things in this area all around, and not just make it about Jason Burmis and this show, but we're trying to get the information out. We're trying to do a lot more than you think. And believe me, location has a huge deal with who I can have come in. Like if I have this centralized location, it should be pretty easy to get interns from the local colleges. And then we can really start churning this stuff out. It's also centrally located for other people to come and do their podcasts, etc. So, I get the auction stuff. This is in, an area I'd like to really have an influence over culturally. Master of your ego, Freud's work. Let's see. I always get lost driving in downtown Dallas and end up at Dealey Plaza every time. The feeling of dread is still there. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of the team. I wonder if you could even make the Lego movie at this point, right? It's so like that, anti-drone. Yes, I know I was muted there. Yes, I'm sorry about that. Bing bong. Yep, there we go. No sound. I got you. Yep. Yes, you can hear the video. Gotcha. I get you. Isn't Dwight spreading political misinformation by today's standards? I know, isn't he? No kidding. Let's see. We got some no heary. Looks interesting. We do it live. That's right. We do. We do it live. We love it live. How we have fallen. No kidding. Maybe. Oh, there's a big jump. Knew that was coming. Oh boy. How much more do we have? Here we go. There we are. By the way, let's jump over really quick to Rockfin and see if we got the Rockfin. Oh, the rock finnings on there. Nope, that's not it either. Where? What are we doing here? There it is. Nope. Man, we're really killing it today, guys. Let me tell you. Is this it right here? That's it. We don't got a lot, huh? Take the auto scrolls off. Yeah, volume is gone. Yep, everybody jumped in for that. You tell them. Yo. It's time to organize together and take action. I agree. Love to listen to you talk. Thank you, TS. I appreciate that. Trying to do it big. All right, let's continue on. And bam it. All right. Maybe COVID germs crawled into the storage. War on others. We love it live. Yes. We already did all this. When you compare the contemporaries of today with those 60 years ago, we have come to a point where we are in free fall. You're not wrong. Hoover spied on and blackmailed politicians, and yet the FBI building still named in honor of him. Shake my goddamn head. Noam Chomsky has been discussing this for years. Noam Chomsky is pro-lockdown and authoritarian and wanted Biden. Noam Chomsky refused to talk about 9/11 truth. Manufacturing consent, you take what you can get from some of these guys. Listen, these pseudo-intellectuals, they're punks. Anybody that won't come to the side of truth and won't defend the truth and won't say what's real, you're a punk. And Noam Chomsky, some of the things that he said, he's also pro-mandates on the boop-boops. Forget about Noam Chomsky. Watching this is depressing me. I'm sorry about that. 61. Let's see. Technology makes us weak, both physically and mentally, sometimes. Again, it's a double-edged sword. No accountability assures repetition and proliferation. For real keen. Noam is a weak-minded fool.
Noam is a weak-minded fool. Noam is a weak-minded fool.
throw that in there. Why not, right? Do it big. There's been an official record of 2 shooters. JFK for many years in the Congressional Archives. I know it's in my film, Invisible Empire, A New World Order to Find, if you want to find out about that. It has a small section on JFK, RFK, MLK, you know, the triple K murders, right? You know those ones? It's in there. You might want to check it out. It's free. All my films are free. In fact, Invisible Empire is featured at the top over at the Rockfin. Go make that free account. Watch it for free. Rockfin.com, ROKFIN.com/Jason Burmis. Let's go, Brandon. I don't think it's fascism. It's communism. No, there's monetary incentives for these people to crush, true capitalism. It's not. Listen, fascism is the combination of government and private corporations together. It's a techno-fascist takeover, and it has been for quite some time. We live in a national security state. Let's see. There were 3 shooters, 2 humans besides Oswald, and a pneumatic gun mounted in the driver's seat. That's Brian Grussing's opinion. I do not know that to be the case. I've watched a lot on Kennedy. I'd love to see where you think that comes from. Maybe it's, I've watched a lot on it. When you remove a higher power, not all men are created equal by the same creator. Rather, one man dominates another ideology. That's atheism. Okay. If not for Pearl Harbor, all of Europe would have been under Hitler rule. Roosevelt's presidents run on war, so Pearl Harbor was a necessity. I don't know. I don't know. 58 years on November 22nd. I had hoped Trump would release the records. Why did we have to wait 50 years when we didn't get them? I know. Pfizer is working with the media and the government, correct? Bum, bum, bum. To sell product and write policy, this fascism. The very definition of fascism, even. Trump is a black sun. I miss the JB voices, LOL. R3D believes believers kill for empire, protect nature, and respect all life. No Sky Daddy necessary. LOL, great impersonation of Dick Schwab. Oh, you liked the Klaus? You a Polish robot if you're lucky. You will serve me in Masky while NASA hot machine. I mean, Klaus. Klaus Nutschwab. That's what I'm trying to get into it, where I have like Klaus Nutschwab as my guest. And he just tells you what they have in store for you very gleefully, like he often does. Or China will be leader, Klaus Schwab. Let's see. Freedom from the mouths of Freemasons, scion of Phoenician traders, is meant for their own usury. Watch the free stuff. Atheism is not domination like religions. Interesting. JFK would be considered a far-right extremist in this day and age. JFK was left of Joe Biden and Trump. Cancel JFK. Yeah, 209 watchers, 91 likes. We got 217. Can we get 200? I know a lot of people have been in and out of this video. It's a long one. It's an AMA. It's much more likely Oswald was the lone shooter than anyone else being involved, in my opinion. Well, John Ray, I would say you're absolutely incorrect in that. No matter what you think about Oswald, for anyone else not to be involved in that, first of all, you have the congressional investigation and the shots fired and the audio and all that stuff that really do show there were probably 2 shooters. You have all the bullet evidence that show that there were at least, when I say 2, at least multiple shooters, whether Oswald was involved with the shooting or not. And then you look at Oswald's history, and again, it's not some, dumb guy, just some regular guy. No, he's very intelligent. Do you speak Russian, John? You speak it fluently? Did you do that in your 20s? Did you have multiple wives by then, too? Excuse me. Do you respect those who disrespect you, Jilly? Burma's Brigade? Someone get me off rap playlists. JFK would be a modern-day conservative. Drone ski, more like clone ski. Atheism is supposed to infer an absence of beliefs, but if you believe theists are wrong, then you're not an atheist. Back to this bowl of chili. Yummy. Everybody loves chili. At least good chili. Scientific acoustical evidence establishes a high probability that 2 gunmen fired at President John F. Kennedy. Yes. Yes. Is privilege never a privilege when it's not a white man's inferences? I don't know what that means, Johnny Tech. Are you trying to start some identity politics conversation here at the Burmese Brigade? It's not what we play around with, big guy. Damn, we can. Yet 150. I never heard that speech. Wow, well, you need to hear it. Paywall is prohibitive. Needs new model. What paywall is that? Who's on the paywall? I don't know what you're talking about. There is, Brian, all my stuff over there on Rockfin that's original, it's all free. You know, and hopefully I'm going to be doing a bigger show with the Rockfin. And that'll be free for at least a week and free live, all that stuff. And then premium members will have the archives. You know, just saying. They are scared to tell us the ugly truth. Keep on resisting, y'all. Snowden is a real whistleblower. If the whole truth were told, the streets would be like the WWZ. You're talking about World War Z. The Eisenhower speech was used well in Oliver Stone's JFK. Government property auctions, Jason. I understand. Listen, I grew up around those type of things. I know all about the property auctions and the government auctions and the car auctions. Once again, this is about a location. This is about a building that I have to do minimal work. Like I got to rip up the floors and paint the place and then deck it out and put my studio and stuff in there and get it going. Not some kind of property haggle and then putting a bunch of money into it to not be able to get interns, to not have people come in. Let's see. Snowden is not legit. Controlled op to Assange. Did Eisenhower drop any lizard knowledge in this speech? Funny. What in the schnucklefucks is going on? Zach. Exactly. John Cullen Investigates YouTube channel is a good info. I don't know anything about John Cullen. Hey, Jason, the movie Shackled to Silence by Shepard was spot on. Volcanoes X Moving In. I don't know what that is. I know that he did a movie on that. I have not watched it. I don't know what Volcanoes X is. Free Julian Assange, shame on the human race. Craigslist, haha, that reminds of when Backpage got seized. Back to my lunch. I don't know what that means. You know how much blood is mixed in concrete? John Cullen, a.k.a. John Hoover. He's the Vegas shooting helicopter guy. So wait, he had a different name? I remember there was somebody that came in. Somebody, maybe that's the guy that emailed me about that over and over and over again. I don't know much about it. I remember Shepard coming in. He also, speaking of Shepard, he talked about that same thing. Bullets and water, baby. That's what I think of the Great Reset. Why would a government with anything to hide ever allow a Freedom of Information Act to get through the houses of government in the first place? Because it was established with the constitutional republic of checks and balances, a judicial, executive, and legislative, where the fourth estate was the media to check up on those, so they were, somewhat honest of the massive corruption they already knew was going to take place. That's how the government was formed, because we realized all those things. Just pointing that out there. Let's see. What we do, stand up, fight back. Will be able to ID vaxxed by similarity to pincushion. The only way to win is not to play. Do not consent. It got him $1 million from the big pharma. Someone got $1 million from big pharma. It's time for us to neutralize our corrupt politicians with information. Let's see. I think that's going to wrap it up for me. I think that's going to do it. Guys, you know the drill. You want to support this broadcast, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. We've been demonetized on YouTube for a very, very long time. Very, very long time. If you like this stuff, we got the GoFundMe. It's down below. That's all this stuff is going to start. We're going to do the GoFundMe a lot more once I get this place, especially once I write a big check, for sure. But if you do want to support me, please do it through that. Thank you, Odyssey. Thank you. I think I got a little more than 2,000 now. Right? Yeah, just a little more. Not a lot of people watch me on Odyssey, which is unfortunate because that's the YouTube backup. It's got my entire channel on there other than the ones that YouTube removed before I did get backed up. And then, of course, Rockfin. Again, Invisible Empire right at the top. And these videos are uncensored. Some of them are not available at all on YouTube. And for the premium members, you get throwbacks like the Money Bomb from InfoWars from over a decade ago, where Alex and I talk a lot about the move towards domestic terrorism, criminalizing American citizens, pandemic measures, because that was pandemic level 6 then with the WHO and H1N1, right? That was all then. So you want that kind of stuff, you can support me. You get everybody else. There's a lot of great creators on there. And remember, the docs are all free always. Make copies, hand out the links, Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. It is never about left or right. It's always about right and wrong. And what better day, what better moment to become part of the great resistance against their repackaged New World Order, Build Back Better, Great Reset agenda. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.